All right, welcome everyone. First off, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who's tuning into our webinar today. Just continuing our sort of never-ending cycle of working with marketers and affiliate managers and just trying to really broaden our understanding and perspective and expertise on all things digital marketing with probably a little bit of a slant for affiliate and influencer marketing. If you've not attended these before or seen an email from me before, I'm Ryan Hilliard. I'm the CEO of Refersion. Today, we're going to be diving into how to get more out of your affiliate program by thinking about it like an affiliate manager, which is great because someone wrote the book on this literally. I'm excited for my guests today, and that's guests with a plural. So this is the first time we'll be having two folks with me on the call at the same time. I've got Greg Hoffman and Lindsay Kmetz from Apogee Agency. I'm going to go ahead and add them to the stage. But while I'm doing so, I think the really cool perspective as folks are joining and folks that are here live when it comes to your questions is that Greg and Lindsay, you guys operate on sort of different sides of the coin here in terms of perspective with who your sort of like primary maybe not accountability, but like responsibility is towards, like the lens at which you look through, whether it's relationship with the affiliates and the publishers and those influencers and the relationships with the brand. And so I think that perspective is going to be really interesting and maybe even playfully combative, I hope. Not to tease anything out. But yes, welcome, Greg. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
I did a little bit of an intro, but I'd love for you to put into your own words a little bit of an intro into Apogee Agency and what you guys have set out to do. And you guys have been, take this only the right way, players in the affiliate game for a little while. Like you've seen how things have evolved. It shaped a lot of what you did from your book, Greg. But I'd love for you to position it for the folks that are here that may not be familiar or maybe familiar. What you guys do, where you tend to focus, and then we could just dive into our questions.
Okay. Well, I'm Greg. I'm the owner of Apogee. I've been an affiliate manager now for 21 years. Started this company 17 years ago and brought in Lindsay 7 years ago. And now I report to her, basically, let her run the business. About a year ago, I sat down and was working on a project, and I was writing some things about affiliate management. And the more I worked on this little project, I'm like, I've got the beginning of a book. And I think I've wanted to write this book for at least 10 years. The last time anybody wrote a book about affiliate management was about 16 years ago. And it was a great book. And no one else wrote anything since then. And I thought, this is my chance. This is my time. I've got all of these educational articles and everything that I've done for all of these years. It's time to go ahead and put it together in a book. And I released it in March of this year.
And it's a great book. So this was not a coordinated exercise, but Greg, I met you and I joined Refersion. And I saw your post about, hey, I got my book and it's free on Amazon this week. And I was like, I'm going to read this. And Greg, I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to do a digest of this over the next, is like a series of 10, but it took longer than 10 days because I have 3 kids and that's who I'm going to blame for the time. But it's genuinely a tremendous resource. I have made folks on the team read it as well because the perspective is super valuable, and I would say it expands beyond affiliate. It's more just like you could apply this to running client accounts and paid ads, and you could run this in social. Like there's a little bit of a wrinkle here there for like the end like tactic, but in general, like it's just mindset and really approaching things less transactionally and more strategically. And so I think I'm super glad that you had this window to write the book. Lindsay, did he knock you off when like you were also writing a book? And he insisted. No, okay, he didn't.
No, this was all his. No, when I came on the team, I actually was an affiliate first, so I came from the content side, and I think that has been probably the most fun, exciting, and what did you call it? Playfully challenging, combative part of the last 7 years is, while Greg has always advocated for the affiliate as well as the brand, there were sides of it that he had not thought of. And so me being on the content side, I brought a different perspective as to what the actual day-to-day of the affiliate was like. And so I've got, I think I'm in the book a little bit,
Okay.
but more talking about kind of that side of the coin.
You definitely have, I think, 2 sections and like a very generous call out. So you're there for sure.
And I will say that she is responsible for the title of the book.
There you go.
Because when we first met, it's a longer story. We won't go into the details, but I needed to sit down and train Lindsay to think like an affiliate and to get out of the mindset of being a blogger or a creator or an influencer. And so I came up with the phrase, think like an affiliate. And we ran with that a little while. And then I kind of gave her a couple of ideas on what I was going to call the book. And she's like, why don't you just call it Think Like an Affiliate Manager? I'm like, okay, we're done. Never mind. That's it.
Which is not too dissimilar from how the name Apogee came about. I think I watched a webinar about this, and maybe it was in your book as well, but like talking to someone on the phone and they throw out the name, you're like, oh,
there it is.
Perfect.
Exactly. It was the exact same emotion when that happened.
There it is.
Cool. Very cool. I'm going to queue up my questions here. Real quick housekeeping as we're going through this. If you're with us live, whether it's on YouTube, LinkedIn, or on the streamer itself, feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We're going to compile them and just do them at the very end if you have any. But we did try to pull out, I think, a lot of what folks might really care about, this perspective of like, how do you run programs that have sort of sustainability? They're adding net value to the business. They're not this like what feels like a drain on the business or not a value add. It's like, how do you leverage this as a channel? And my perspective, especially when I was reading the book and as I've talked to Greg, is I worked at an e-commerce agency for 8 years on the paid ad side. And definitely, as you talked about the perception of affiliate, like for a long time, I mean, it was like, yeah, this is like the enemy. Affiliate is the enemy of paid. But I think you've brought it together really well, like how this is all sort of part of a funnel. Like it's really about customer growth, brand growth. How do you do things right so that it's not we're stealing branded sales and paid ads is just this and this is just this. It's all very complementary across the entire funnel, which I think helps folks put in perspective how they can actually drive better results from their campaigns. So I'll jump into the questions. Anything you'd add to that? No? Cool.
No.
I was going to say, I think, yes, that's one thing that has, and it has changed over the last couple of years, that there used to be a way to kind of decide, okay, this was this person's responsibility and this was this person, and this person is responsible for this sale and this touch point and this whatever. And between technology changing and the customer journey, which is always a moving target, I think it's made we all have to play nice together.
Yeah. Attribution was so nice when people could just, they only used computers to make purchases and they searched, clicked, bought.
Right.
And now it's so difficult to really have good visibility into what's going on.
For sure.
All right. So let's tee up the first question. So we're going to get straight to all of the trade secrets that you guys carry as an agency, put you directly out of business. I'm just joking, of course, but you see lots of accounts. You guys, I think you do audits, you review accounts. You got to assess like what's going on in this program. You've probably taken middling accounts to great stages many times. But as you're seeing things and folks here are running programs, and I've talked to customers of reversions that on the outside you say like this program is crushing it, but they feel like, hey, I feel like we're sort of middling here, like we're kind of stuck. What are maybe like the go-to places that you look for, like, how do I determine like you've got this wrong, you've got this wrong? From an ads perspective, it was always like you just go to settings in Google Ads and you go, your delivery is wrong, your ad scheduling is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I just saved you thousands of dollars every month. But what's your go-to from looking at an affiliate program that somebody has running?
Well, and I'm going to take this one, but it's the subhead of my book. It's Stop Launching Links, Start Building a Program. And I think the one complaint that I've had for many years is affiliate networks and platforms kind of give a little bit of hope that affiliate marketing is for everyone, and no matter what you're selling, you could just launch an affiliate program and magic will happen pretty quickly. And that's not the case. And so every time we've done an audit and I've gotten excited about the audit, I'm like, wow, this is just basic. All they did was the bare minimum to set up the integration, and they put out one text link, and they're coming to us saying, why doesn't affiliate marketing work for us? Because we did this and we've got nothing, and it's been 6 months. And then I want to say, no one has sat you down to explain the mechanics of the infrastructure of an affiliate program and all of the possibilities that are there, all of the different methods of promotion. And so when I'm looking at the audit, I'm looking at not just exactly how they set up the description and their commission tiers and their cadence of emails. I'm talking to the brands and saying, what did you know about affiliate marketing first? Who did you talk to? Who told you that this was a good idea? Because it doesn't always work for a brand.
Yeah, I think for sure there's, I mean, as a tool for affiliate tracking, right, there is some like level of, hey, we want it to be easy to reduce that barrier of entry to get people started. But there's an educational component of like, there's outputs require inputs. You can't just magically do something and you make $1 million. You do probably hear about that every once in a while, where like this brand just happened to, they got the price, the product, the timing, all of that worked perfectly and they just blew up. It's probably not most brands. It's probably not your brand, right? But they see that and I think they go, oh, I could just, it worked for so-and-so. It's like, yeah, but they just like created a
whole
vertical.
I think even that is probably, I was an overnight success 20 years in the making.
Yeah.
I think that when I look at the audits and stuff like that, what I see is a lot of times people have underestimated, number one, what the program can do and all of the different levers that can be pulled through an affiliate channel, as far as the different types of publishers and the different types of promotions and stuff like that. But in the same vein, they've also underestimated the amount of time that it takes to work with all of those. And I know, we'll probably get into that later because that's huge in Greg's book. It is not a set it and forget it channel. I joke with Greg sometimes I want to have Field of Dreams playing in the background because I'm like, it is not if you build it, they will come. There is more to it. And so that's the biggest thing. I've seen a lot of times where the entire affiliate channel, and now including influencer and everything, is handed to one young person, and said, go and make us this huge program that's wildly successful. And there's a reason why there is such a high turnover, because that is far too much to place on one person. That is far too much opportunity. It's a good thing. It's a positive thing, but that person needs a team. That's why you have an agency, because there is so much more to it to truly optimize a program in the way that is going to be that overnight success.
Yeah, it's sort of a good lead in to this next question, but I'm curious, how you do an audit, you bring on a client, right? How do you, and maybe we'll start, Lindsay, from your perspective, both being an affiliate before, and then also like working with a lot of these more like on that side of the relationship. How do you ensure that the relationships are more strategic? I think in general, people agree like, oh yeah, if it's a good aligned partnership, we're all going to win and this is great. But like tactically, what are the things that you're doing? Maybe 5,000 foot view versus like a 30,000 foot view. What can people really make sure that they're
I think you have to be really clear on the publisher's business plan. And this is something that I have literally never seen talked about ever. And when you are talking to a publisher, how has their business plan worked for their audience? And what I mean by that is, influencer marketing is huge. And now influencer and affiliate have really kind of blended. There is no definitive line between those two right? There are influencers that are sharing affiliate links. There are affiliates that are realizing that they can make more money being influencers and being a little bit more forward facing than maybe they were in the past. However, there's two different business plans where that is concerned. And so if it's somebody that may have 1 million Instagram followers and you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to get my brand in front of 1 million people, they mention you or something like that, and absolutely nothing happens. There are no sales, there are no whatever, and you may have even paid a hefty price tag for that. The thing is, if that influencer has not had an audience that buys from them, if they have not kind of started that process of, this is amazing, here is why you should do it, sharing more copy than content, then you're right, it's not. That is a brand awareness expense, which is different than getting sales. Those are two different things. That doesn't make that person not valuable to your program, because brand awareness and knowing that you exist is huge. That is the first step to getting to those sales. But when I have somebody that has a large following, the brand says we want to work with them, because we have the affiliate relationship, I'm able to say, I'm going to pay you a little less than your normal sponsored rate because I'm going to give you this opportunity to earn affiliate. And the very next conversation is what is important, because if that influencer says, I don't do affiliate, they're telling you that their audience is for brand awareness, not conversion. Because the ones that have audiences that are primed to buy, that buy from them often, we know our audiences. Again, I was on the content side first. Those are the ones that are going to go, oh yeah, I'm going to jump all over that because I'm going to make much more. The same thing is true all the way through the publisher cycle. So it's not just influencers. That's just the easiest one to say. But even, even large publishers, websites, magazines, television shows, like that kind of stuff, they know their audience. So you need to just have a candid conversation and say, are you willing to do this on a performance rate? And whether they say yes or no is going to tell you if it's still worth the investment.
Let me pare it back. Definitely what you're not saying, because sometimes folks will take this the wrong way. They'll go, oh, so that means I can just send an email to 1,000 influencers with a commission only offer and they'll sign up because they want potential. Like, it's not that. It's still like understanding what they're trying to do with their channel.
Right.
You can look up like what other partnerships have they done in the past. And if they're not really doing many, or if you've looked at the content from those in the past, like, this isn't really what we want you to do something completely different. It's probably where you can even identify, like, this is probably a mismatch of expectations. Again, not like to your point, it's not a bad thing. It's just recognizing, like, you may get 0 sales from this today.
Right.
And that is possible. And I've done partnerships on a mobile app a couple of jobs ago where, like, we ran into the problem of having a screaming success the first time. And then we're like, let's double down on what we think is the same kind of person. And we had that misfire and spent 25 grand and had no value to show for it. It's like, how is this possible? It's like, oh, because we assumed something. We figured that we knew everything, but we didn't actually look deeper into, like, what are they trying to do? It's just all very surface level. So don't take that as like, oh yeah, you could just do pure performance plays only and they just love it, but it's trying to understand what they're trying to do with their channel.
Well, I think that speaks to the relationship. You have to be able to have that conversation. That is the relationship. And so then it's it's okay. Is this still a good partnership? Do you need brand awareness? Yes. Is that level of brand awareness in line with the cost of that person is asking if there are no sales? Can you use the content for UGC? Can you, if it's a big publisher, can you advertise on your own channels that you were featured in that publication? Like, again, that is why I say it's very difficult for one person to run all of that, because again, that's just one small facet of what can be done.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you made her answer the question first, because that was perfect for her. Mine is a little bit simpler. And I know affiliate managers can romanticize affiliate marketing and the relationships they have with their partners, but it really does come down to whether or not the offer converts. And so it is, you have to build the relationship. They have to trust you to join the program. They have to trust you to get active, but you have to convince them that they're actually going to make money when they start the promotions. So it does boil down to, it is transactional. You can still have great relationships, but if it doesn't work, then they're going to move on to a different offer.
Yeah, and it's nothing personal, and you probably could eventually revisit the relationship, but it's understanding that unless they're like your really close buddy, this is like share of voice that they need to monetize. And so at the end of the day, it does need to convert. I think a lot of times brands don't have a good enough understanding of like what their website is doing in general from a performance perspective, like where its drop-offs are. Those are only magnified when you introduce thousands of completely new green users. So if you're missing out on our conversion rate's a little bit lower, we're not really sure why, but now we're going to send a bunch of traffic there. It's like, I don't think that that's going to overcome your conversion rate challenges. So understanding like that, because that's just that backed in component to how much revenue will they ultimately drive from the time that they're going to put in. And then they're going to weigh that. I think that's something that you shined a good light on in the book, Greg. And we try to remind folks, I mean, even when we're talking to folks that are trying to buy reversion, like reminding folks, like, this is not the only thing that they're doing all day. They're looking at other options. And so it's not a vacuum. You have to make a compelling case to get them to make a decision. And, it starts with that relationship, and then it has to ultimately have the follow through of, is it doing anything? And does it have potential? Maybe more directly to Greg. So we'll start there. A lot of times people are like, I see some traction. I can't really get, and you kind of alluded to it before, where it's like they probably just drop a link. But how do you make like more strategic, significant changes to a program where it's like, hey, we're changing your entire, like you're only in on coupon codes. This is not adding net value. Like we're changing the way that we've built this program foundationally. How do you do that to ultimately drive that scale? And then how do people navigate that probably like few months of disruption? Like it's going to be a little bit, it's going to look like attributed revenue is a lot lower, but it's because we're changing how we're attributing and like we're still looking at everything. How do you approach that to drive greater profitability and scale? Well, you probably have a client that's like a little bit itchy about like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
I've had success and failure in that. And the success was talking to a Fortune 50 company many years ago and telling them that 100% of their sales were coming from coupon and cashback. And what I wanted to do was I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna kick out some of your active publishers that are sending you sales, because I don't think they're adding to the bottom line. I think there's an attribution problem, and there's not enough room for the content creators to get active. So you're going to have a drop. And we found that within 3 months, revenue dropped 40%. And the leader that I was talking to convinced his leaders, hey, this is going to happen for the next 3 months. We're going to drop, we're going to rebuild at the same time, and we're going to try to come back stronger. And we did. And so I did keep that company for a very long time. But recently, within the last few years, we had another opportunity. I said, okay, we're going to go in there, we're going to change everything. And your sales are going to drop a little bit. I think we've got some good partnerships that we're going to just slide in there. And he says, no, we can't have any drop. We're not allowed to drop at all. We can only have growth. And I'm like, but this is what we talked about. This is the sales pitch. And so we're there day one, like, okay, this is it. It's like, you can't touch anything. And so we failed at that program. We managed them for 8 or 9 months, and because we were not allowed to use the strategy that we gave them, because their boss said, you can't do that. We need that volume. I'm like, no, you really don't. We're going to fill it back up quickly.
In those cases, how often are they? This is off topic from even like the initial things that we were going to discuss, but do you tie in other attribution tools? Like if somebody's using like this is our gospel, all channel attribution, everything goes through here. We'll maybe do payouts and measure conversions in a tool like Reversion, but like when we look at the whole business picture, we're looking at this tool And so we want to, like, my take is that your assumption is obviously we're not going to see much influence on the overall business, but we're going to see this program look a little bit worse. But it's actually not worse for you. It's probably actually better for you in the business, and then we'll actually make it additive as we go. Do you find that like brands often have these marketing mix tools in place and they're leveraging it properly, or like not really? I'm just kind of curious.
One of the worst things that a brand can do is live and die by Google Analytics as a source of truth.
Is this because it's last click, or is this because in general?
Because there is so much technology that makes that no longer the black and white, this is true no matter what, between cookie blockers and cross platform and cross device and all of those many things. And I can go for days talking about all of the different scenarios where somebody saw something on TikTok on their phone and then was served up something else somewhere else and all that kind of whatever. And they're like, oh no, that person drove the sale. So Google Analytics said it's here. And I'm like, I can show you that it started here. So that's why I said in the very beginning, we have to play nice with all of the channels. Customer journey is ever evolving and constantly moving. And you have to be able to look at the entire thing holistically. To Greg's point, when he said that we were going to drop, the overall sales of the brand did not drop.
Yeah.
The channel dropped. And so when the brand understood and we said, we're only our channel is the one being effective. And that is because of how we have, basically pulled all these levers and set them. It was an attribution thing. It wasn't that sales overall, like people didn't suddenly stop buying from them because we kicked out a coupon site. That wasn't how it worked. So I think there is as much education for affiliates as there are for brands to understand the entire marketing ecosystem and how it works. And I think a lot of times brands are too close to the product to see and remember what it is like to be a consumer. And I say, how do you shop? Think of the last thing that you bought. Where did you buy it from? Where did you initially see it from? Where did you see it the first time? And how quickly did you buy it? Like, think about your own self-customer journey and how that may be working in your business as well, because there's just so much more to it.
Yeah.
Brian, I want to let you know that you did play a game while she was speaking. She said source of truth, and that's a drinking game here at Apogee. And you took a sip of your coffee, and I thought, there it is. When someone says one of those keywords, source of truth, you got to take a shot.
My favorite is when I was working for a startup in cybersecurity, the bane of every CISO's existence that was an actual doer was saying single pane of glass. And you just if you said that and you were a vendor, they weren't buying from you. You don't get it. That's funny. So switching gears, maybe back to like relationships. So we talked. This is something that you covered in your book, Greg. I worked at an influencer marketing database tool for 3 years called Hype Auditor. Shifted towards the affiliate side with Reversion back in September, but we saw this sort of like convergence of affiliate and influencer, and like this when interest rates were no longer zero and marketing teams' budgets stopped increasing, and it was like do more with less. There seemed like to be this convergence of more performant-focused investments in influencer. And so maybe Lindsay, starting with you, like how do you manage that on the relationship side, like traditional publishers, traditional approaches for like what's traditionally affiliate, and then what I would say is I would call it like more emerging affiliate, which is like micro, nano, UGC, like it's stuff that was influencer, but now it's less fixed placements, more hybrid approaches. Are the relationships the same? Or you sort of alluded to the beginning of this meeting or this webinar, but how dissimilar are these relationships? Like, do you treat your publishers just like you treat your influencers? Do you have to coddle them differently?
I think because I was on the content side first, the influence. I say I'm too old to call myself an influencer, but I was one of the ones that paved the way to what is influencer now. As one of the OG mommy bloggers in the early 2000s. Don't do the math on that. But do I treat them differently? No. And I think that's the thing. The publishers, influencers that treat their business like a business, that understand the business side of all of this. So when I started mommy blogging, making money from your mommy blog was dirty. Like they didn't like that. People got offended by that. And when we said, hang on, this is a viable business. You can do this. And I remember being mocked about, oh, you don't have a job. You're just a blogger. And I'm like, be happy to compare my income to yours. The ones that treat it like a business, no, you talk to them as if you're talking to a huge publisher with billions of views, because business people understand business people, and I want to respect them as that. So it's the same. That being said, everybody boils down to relationships and how you treat someone, your expectations. And that's why I think having candid conversations, sometimes uncomfortable conversations. People say, I've applied to your program or to your campaign 4 or 5 times. Why am I not getting chosen? And I will answer them that. And sometimes it is because your engagement rate is not high enough, or because your demographic does not fit what this brand is looking for, or whatever. And I've had some uncomfortable emails that I've sent, and the ones that come back and they say, thank you for that feedback, because they sometimes don't know. They sometimes don't understand. They're so close, like a brand being too close to their business to understand their marketing. Sometimes a creator is too close to their business to understand what it looks like from the brand side. So on our Instagram, I do a lot of behind the scenes and can say that those have ended up becoming some of my best affiliates now, because I gave them those pointers and I said, this is what is missing. And they have put in the work and done it. And, Wally said, but that again goes back to that relationship.
And what about on the offer side, Greg? Do you similar reach maybe, but do you find if you're building out this portfolio for an affiliate program, should people be drastically structuring offers differently for the different content for it, separate from maybe like a good coupon partner, a good browser extension or reward partner where they're getting some scale there? Like those are obviously different, but maybe a more traditional publisher, do you find okay, we have completely different offers, rates are different, incentives are different, or how do you guys approach that?
I think on the traditional side, and this is where she's going to yell at me, they're just easier. That's more of the transactional side, where you just put it out there and they're going to accept it at face value. They're going to look at the commission, they're going to look at the conversion, and they're just going to do it. And there's not a lot of conversations that go on. If they do have questions, we can answer them. But when you alluded to the word coddling with the influencers, there's a reason why I'm not allowed to talk to the influencers for many years. And I think it's just because I would rather deal with the traditional side that is a little bit easier to deal with, because we just give them the offer and they're like, okay, cool, thanks. And then they run with it. When you talk to some of the traditional affiliates that have been in the business for 15, 20, 25 years, they don't have questions. They're going to figure it out themselves. And they're either going to like it or they're not. And there's not a lot of interaction in between. Some of the newer corporate affiliates that are more technical, there's lots of emails back and forth, but it's not necessarily the relationship building. It's just making sure they have the information that they need right then, because they're just going to go ahead and move forward with the promotions on their own.
Yeah.
One more thing, if I can add it, if I can have 2 more seconds, is that I do think, and something that I stress is, no matter what publishers you're working with, having the same customer-facing messaging, I think, is important, and customer-facing incentives, I think, are important. And that is because there are so many touch points. And so one thing that I have seen that in some of our audits that I think confused customers don't make decisions. And so if you give, well, is this offer better or is this offer better? Well, I saw this person on TikTok saying this, but then when I got on Facebook, I was given this offer. And then, maybe I'm going to wait and there may be a better offer coming. Or we've had brands where they have run so many back to back sales that they have literally trained their audience, don't buy full price because we're going to have a sale for you in a matter of days, just wait it out. So making sure that, we may give behind the scenes different offers. Somebody may have a different commission rate, or paying a different influencer. This person may get a different rate than this person. But as far as what is customer facing, needs to be congruent and all have the same messaging so you don't confuse your customer.
That makes sense. We're not going to go on the nose here because we've had another one of these instances with tools in this space. But Greg, you brought this up in your book, and so I want to get your perspective, because we talk to brands all the time, and there's still this, we don't do these types of partners. We only do these types of partners amongst brands. It happens. I think you hit the nail on the head really well in the book, though. Like, we've conditioned users to go look for coupons because in the checkout, it says, enter your discount code. We do it for corporate purchases where it's like, you're going to ask me what my discount code is. I'm going to go look to see if there's a discount code. Why is it there otherwise? And I don't know if brands, the synapses aren't firing there, but I think you positioned it pretty well around, like, these different types of partners have their place in the funnel. And I was just curious, like, do you feel like that's universally true? I mean, amongst the ones that affiliate makes sense? Or are there cases where you're like, never do a coupon for this brand because it just doesn't make sense for this type of business? But I'll stop there, but we'll maybe lump in all three of those, like, very bottom of the funnel. Person's probably already made a decision to buy the thing, and now they're just like looking for a little bit of extra discount as a user, like the end customer. What's your thought here?
Well, interesting, because I had a conversation with a brand this week, and if you're watching this, I'm not going to name you. They have a higher end product, and they are working with influencers only. And I thought it was interesting in the conversation. I'm like, this is great. The idea is we are going to try to find you a different set of influencers. But if he said, I want bigger, better affiliate program, I want to go have all of the methods of promotion, and we were able to unlock all of these other different partners, it would have been a different conversation. But during our talk, he says, yeah, we don't work with couponing or cashback or extensions. We just don't discount like that. And so in the conversation, it came up that, yeah, we do give a 15% discount code to our influencers. And I didn't say anything, but I exploded in my head a little bit. I'm like, you just said you don't discount, but yet you're giving dozens of coupons out every single month. And what I've said for years, I've never liked coupons. I've never liked the browser extensions. I've never liked loyalty. But I had to start working with them because some of those larger brands demand that I work with them in affiliate programs because their competitors are using them. And they're looking at the customer journey, and they're understanding that customers are going to use coupons, and they could lose that customer. Even if it's a 5% or a 1% difference, the customer is going to choose the one that actually gives them the best discount. And so I've worked with them now for probably 10 or 15 years. The first 5 years of my career, I didn't work with any of them. And just out of necessity, maybe that's why I've been around for so long, is that I did start working with them. But we've just come up with a system to work with the ones that we like, know, and best, and have good relationships with those corporate partners. But I do pay them less. I do put rules on them when I can in platforms to make sure that the content affiliates are protected. But when you're starting an affiliate program, they're going to be the first ones that give you sales. And I think it's important to tell everyone, we're going to launch this program. We're going to bring in some coupon partners. And for the first 3 months, 100% of your sales are going to come from these bottom funnel partners. That's how we build it up. And then Lindsay can go out and talk to the creators and say, look at the commissions we've paid out, look at the conversion that we've had. And so this does work. We do want you to start promoting this product because we've got that foundation. And it has worked consistently for all these years. And then within months 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, we're not 100%. Then we're down to 80%. Then we're down to 60%. My goal is a program that is a year or 2 or 3 years old is much less than 40%. I would shoot for 25% of the revenue coming through the affiliate channel is attributed to the bottom funnel partners, because I want the content partners that have the new audiences to be bringing all of those new customers in. So that's, I know there's lots of affiliate managers and brands that don't like the coupon cashback extensions, but some of us do it out of survival. And that's how we start to build our programs and build trust with other affiliate partners to show that this actually works.
I think it's really outdated to say that offering a coupon that makes your customer feel really good about buying your product takes away from the integrity of your brand. I think that's outdated thinking in our market, again, with that customer journey. And to your point, 100% of the brands that have told me that they don't do coupon because they are a premium product, go ahead and take a sip, that they are a premium product, have a coupon field on their checkout page. And if you don't do coupons ever, why is that there? Because it can be turned off. It's there because there are instances that you do. And so I feel like you have to carry on that thinking with the partners. I'm not giving every single coupon partner access, but there are a few that are good and do work and don't take away from the integrity of the brand. So they are those instances, and the same reason why you have that on your site.
Does that wind down of the sort of like percentage contribution of an affiliate program? Is that a natural byproduct because the other revenue is growing, or is there also some intentionality of like, no, we're actually pulling some of it down. We're reducing we started with 5 great coupon partners, but we actually try to reduce it down to 2, and we are offsetting it with more revenue. I was just curious, Greg, how much of it is just like the volume, or how much of it is like, no, we also do, like, it's not like we just want to serve this. It's a strategy. And then once we've got the traction, we actually taper it back a bit.
I just look at it as they actually are the bottom of the funnel, and they are closing because they are doing their job. They're most of the time, hopefully they're offering a valuable coupon or discount to that customer. And so we do keep those in there. But like I said, we're keeping 5 in there. We're not approving every coupon affiliate that comes through, because there's going to be a dozen applications a day.
Yeah.
And when you give the program time to mature, the volume outside of coupon is what grows. Yeah. So to your question, we just need that runway, because the other publishers take longer to convert than a coupon partner does. A coupon, it's selling an umbrella in a rainforest. They're right there. That's how, boom, that's done. The other partners, so we don't ever take it away. If we put the 5 in, they stay there. And then the focus becomes working on those other publishers to really build the volume. It just takes a longer runway.
Yeah, I think what you're saying in terms of like the really compelling thing is like you get to demonstrate conversion rates of your site through affiliates, which is the hardest thing for the affiliate manager, Greg in this case. He wants to know, right, when he wants to be able to go to partners and say, here's what's happening, here's how I can get the best partners. If I have some data that shows them, you will see performance. And if you're like, I'm going to go straight to just influencers and I convince them to do this, well, they're not going to see it immediately. You can't justify it immediately. So like you might actually end up in a situation where it's like nothing happened, and now I don't have them as a partner, and now I'm sort of stuck. Like, how do I start over again? Like if you false start, like that could be really, really frustrating, but it's a great way to power some data through the process, get some stories, get some success, and go, okay, so now we can go out, and it's just so much easier. I think people just don't think about it as a strategic has a strategic purpose beyond just like it closes, but there's other value there to enable what people end up struggling with, which is affiliates never respond. They never sign up. I never get good ones. Well, if you have no story to tell with your program, it's really hard to do that unless you happen to, know a celebrity or be founded by a celebrity or something like that, in which case maybe it's a little bit easier.
I see this on Reddit all the time where brands come in and say, I need to find more affiliates. And how do I find more affiliates? How do I convince them to join and get active? And my answer consistently is show them the conversion. Prove to them that your website is going to make them money. They don't like that answer because a lot of them, if they're there, they're trying to figure this out. They're bootstrapping it and they might not have sales to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I probably same discussion boards. I tell people, like, if you've got customers, just go to them. Like, they're great, obviously, for understanding your product and your purchase journey. Maybe some of them have audience. Like, try to leverage the fact that they already know who you are. Maybe there's some value. It's not going to be scaled, of course, but like when we ran our affiliate program for this mobile app, we were looking through who had installed our mobile apps. Like, we actually have like celebrities actively running groups in here that we didn't know. Mm-hmm. Like, we could send them swag and they'll love it. Like, this will be great. And it was just like looking through our own base. Now, mobile apps are a different story than sometimes e-commerce stores, because I think we had 100,000 installs at the time. But there's definitely some gold there. If you're like, I don't know where to start, I'm struggling, I'd point people to there as well. So last question, because we're going a little bit over. I think this is a good one, because this is, well, first I was going to say something about migrating platforms, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to focus on, I talked to programs that look, I mentioned this before, like they're pretty good brands. Like, they're notable on the D2C side. Like, they're probably on everybody's feed right now. And the manager's like, we're like looking at this closely because we're just trying to figure out, like, how do we justify this internally? It doesn't seem to be doing what we want. And I know that there's audits and there's, working with partners like yourselves, but what steps should someone take if they're unfortunately, like the one person brought in to run affiliate, or maybe the small team, to sort of show like this is an investment and it's providing value? Like, how do they get that internal backing? Like you mentioned, Greg, your contact, their boss's boss or whatever was like, yeah, I understand. We're in on this. We totally get it. How do you, like, what are some tactical things people should be doing to make sure that they're getting that backing and that buy-in internally, so affiliate isn't just this thing that exists, who knows what it does? It's not they're out of the marketing room during the marketing meetings because it's affiliate. Like, how do you avoid some of that with the internal politics?
Well, the bad answer is never talk to a finance person, because the finance person is going to say no to everything. That is the death of every agency, is talking to the chief financial officer, because they don't look at they don't get marketing. They don't want to get marketing. I think there's two answers. An affiliate manager, if they need to be looking at metrics that are just beyond the sales and the revenue. They need to be proving to everyone that it's moving forward. They're bringing in new partners. They're adding clicks to the website. They're starting to bring in sales, and recruiting is ongoing. That, you're bringing in X amount of, you don't have to have a quota on the type of affiliates that you're bringing in, but you've got to show that you're refilling the bucket, because affiliates will leave. They will stop promoting, and you've always got to keep recruiting. So you've got to prove to management that you're always bringing in the new blood. They're starting to send you promotions, and then you got to start looking at all of the other channels and maybe arguing, or at least bribing the ad manager that, hey, your peanut butter stuck in my chocolate, and we need to start working together. So, but because now it's you're starting to look at where the answers are in the answer engines. Are affiliates creating content that are being cited by the LLMs, and who is looking at looking for that in any organization. So an affiliate manager needs to stand up for themselves, and they need to be in the rooms when all of those other channel managers are having the conversation with the bosses, and they need to stand up and say, my affiliates are helping with that. We've got all these other programs. I'm helping with it because I'm doing some content here. I'm doing things there. They've got to stand up and just talk about all of the contributions that they're doing, whether they're creators, they're traditional affiliates, they're the PR side of paid placements. That's all going to start, working on the AI side in the future. And affiliate managers have to take credit for it, and they've got to stand up for themselves.
That's what I was going to say. Fight to get in that room. Fight to get in that room, because it's a bit the same attention needs to be on the affiliate channel as it is on the others. Affiliates can drive traffic that will set that Facebook pixel that your social retargeting may close on. Affiliate may have sent that click that signed up for that newsletter that then your newsletter 3 months later converted on. But you wouldn't have had that person on your newsletter had it not been for my affiliate. She may not have closed that first time, but that's why you've got to be in those conversations. That's why the messaging needs to be the same, and realize that everybody is on the same team, working for the same goal, working together. And the attribution has gotten far too muddy to be able to say, this is yours and this is yours. The customer journey is just too broad.
For many years, PR just took credit for the things that they did and said, did your business grow because we did something 3 months ago? And the answer is, well, yes, it did grow, and we didn't know where it came from. And PR would say, it came from us. And I think that is also affiliate now, because we do have influencer. We've got the PR component. We've got traditional affiliates. And we are telling the bosses, did your business grow over the last 3 months, 6 months? We're the ones who brought you those new audiences, but it just didn't click through. We didn't get the attribution.
So we're going to wrap up. I'm going to combine two questions that we had from the same person, but I think that they're related, and you sort of both alluded to it. I'm going to show them here. So the first one, we'll just jump to the end. I know the answer to this is no, but I'm going to beg that you elaborate, Greg and Lindsay. Is affiliate more of an exposure and traffic strategy? No being probably purely, and then combine that with, we also do have this layer of the index content being presented in LLMs and for AEO results is often coming from social channels and sort of like forum-led channels. And those usually don't have clicks, but there's just visibility there. How do you manage this piece of the puzzle? Like, this is an upper funnel visibility play with downstream effects, and we're going to have some benefit of LLMs, which are so difficult to measure regardless of whatever tool says that's so easy to measure, because they're all supposed to be personalized results anyway, so can't really measure it unless you did it like individually. How do you guys, maybe just how do you approach those challenges or things that you've done to kind of just like, how we have to tie this in, right? Like, we ultimately do have to talk about it, even if it's a bit like shifting sands beneath your feet in terms of what we absolutely know. But how do you approach that visibility, influence, to sort of treat it as like a pun, and like the carryover effect into organic and AEO and chat and all of that? And that will be it for our questions today.
Well, and every single month for the last 21 years, I've sent every client a synopsis, a report of exactly what we did last month, what we want to do next month, and we give them some type of summary analysis of what we think happened. And from the agency perspective, we're not in-house managers, but they don't always read my reports. They don't always ask questions. And so we can make these assumptions, and we can have these conversations that we feel that we helped you grow your business. But if we don't hear back from the business, then we don't have a chance to learn and work with them. And so, I think it might be half of our clients over the last 17 years have never really engaged with us. They hire us, they see it as transactional, and they don't always ask us the questions. They don't always bring us into the room. We're trying to fight to get in that room, but maybe the room is just the owner.
Yeah.
And he just wants to hire us to do our thing. We could do so much more. So Chris is a good affiliate manager, and so he understands those questions. The first one is yes, and the second one, I'm always willing to have conversations about how AI is playing out through the affiliate channel.
Yeah, I think that it is yes, a traffic driver. Yes, is it? It is a traffic driver that gives a little bit more transparency and a little bit more visibility than some of the other channels. Maybe we're able to see a little bit more. We're able to see a little bit further down the funnel than some of the other channels. But yes, affiliate is now a full funnel marketing plan.
Yeah, it's definitely something where you see the affiliates themselves are doing all of the things that one person's probably doing for a brand across the board to drive and enable one channel. And I think ultimately, when it comes to internal buy-in, right, you just get one big notice, like you mentioned PR, Greg, that the mobile app that we had a few years ago, we had a picture of someone holding a phone about intermittent fasting in the USA Today, and it just happened to be our app in the screen. Not super obvious, like it wasn't the home screen. It was definitely more like, oh, we're going to do something candid. The impact of that overnight was insane, and so like that, people are like, oh, how do we do more of this? And that's like, well, that was kind of lucky, but here's how we. I think what you guys have helped us see is here's how we lay bricks down to actually do this in a structured way that we think should work for the folks that you guys ultimately work with. Appreciate your time. Lindsay, you said, how long should this go? I was like, maybe 40 minutes, and here we are at 57. So we will wrap up, but I wanted to thank you both for your time today. Really enjoyed the conversation. I thought that we kept the gloves on. It was good, not too much. Thank everyone again for joining us today. This will be recorded, so you'll be able to watch it later, send it to folks later. But Greg and Lindsay, again, thank you today for your time. You can find them at apogeeagency.com and on LinkedIn. And Greg, your book is on Amazon and probably anywhere books are sold. Imagine
Amazon.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.